What is one of the most awkward things that has happened to you during a sexual encounter? Is it people walking in, people passing gas? I don't know. External situations that happen. Have you ever cried in the middle of an experience with another person? I'm Latia, and I've had at least one situation where I definitely started bawling, and two where I think I was on the cusp. And I also am building a practice of confidence, sex, and attraction where I get to dive deep into what does it take to have so much faith in yourself that anytime you receive a compliment, you know it's the truth. That you receive abundantly because you have a great vision for yourself and you move from the chaos of who you think you should be into the clarity of who you are and your truth. So, back to the topic at hand. I have had a few moments where I was intimate with someone and I ended up crying. The very first time it happened, I was in high school and this guy and I were kind of messing around in a car, and I recall him, I believe he was using fingers inside, and I don't know if he hit something or what, but I was just like, stop, and like freaking out. And as soon as he like stopped, I started crying. And I was just like, I don't know why I'm crying right now, but I don't know. And like, I just had like tears, like just shedding, bawling. It was ugly. It was weird. And after that happened, I went to my mom and I was like, Mom, oh my gosh, what do you think happened? And she's like, it's probably guilt or shame. And I was just like, oh, okay. That is the least helpful response that you could have given me in this situation, but cool. It's possible. Maybe I feel ashamed. Maybe it touched on something that I've never had touched before and I just didn't know how to handle it. I was like, whatever it was, I was just like, I don't like that answer, but we'll roll with it for now. So fast forward many years later, and I was graduated from college because I was living in St. Louis in my own apartment, and this guy and I were kind of hanging out, and he was going down on me, and it felt like I was on a ledge where it was like I could jump or not, and it was like that in and out kind of like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen kind of feeling. And he was aware enough to just stop and pause, and I just remember feeling like, oh my gosh, like this must be those edges that people talk about, and I was on the cusp of something and I could feel it. And I don't know what it was then. I guess at that point, what I would assume is that I had done some exploring with a friend who would pull back the hood on my clit, and like when it was fully exposed, it could take a lot more than if it was like half on, half off. So I didn't know if that has something to do with how it felt and like the sensations that were coming up, but I find that to be an interesting parallel or correlation. And then recently, like within last day, I was doing it with someone and they start going hard and like they're going in and legs are up and it's great. But it hits this point where I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what you're touching, but I can tell you're touching that emotional place where like, if you don't stop now, I might start crying. And so I like had him pause and he paused, and then we were able to go back into it. And I remember telling him, I was like, yeah, there was this moment where if you would have kept going, I probably would have started crying and it would have been super awkward and very weird for the both of us. And I'm like, I like you. We've done it a few times. We hang out, but I don't know if we're that cool where I can just start crying and I know you're going to take care of me and like be there for me and give me whatever I need. I don't even know what I need when I cry outside of like just bawling and shedding tears. But I do have like an idea of being held by a strong man, and this man is very strong. His biceps are crazy. And I want to do that with someone that we have the trust there with, because like just because we can have like that level of fun doesn't mean we're necessarily in the emotional depths yet, which is what I'm still exploring for myself. So I know that for myself, emotions, I'm a very sensitive person. My feelings get hurt all the time, and I've kind of learned to shut it down as best I can, because my dad told me that nobody cares about your feelings, kind of keep it to yourself. No one's going to change just because they hurt your feelings. And so I've kind of closed off to being a sensitive person, and I treat others as though they're the sensitive ones so that I can feel okay. Because it makes me feel bad to hurt someone else's feelings. I'm not going to just be rude and obnoxious in a way that dishonors the way I like to communicate. So there's some level of being in my head versus being in my body that I'm exploring as my next level, because sex is fun. And even that partner was like, you came in confident and comfortable, like you were ready. And I'm like, at what point did I seem confident or comfortable? Because as soon as I walked in the door, we just start, like, he just pounces on me. And it was fun. It was delightful. But it was also unexpected. And it was funny because he was like, you came in thinking you're going to run stuff. And I'm like, no, I had no idea what to expect. We were texting and there was something about a punishment. And I'm just like, I don't want to get punished. Like, I don't think we're necessarily in a BDSM type thing yet. But at the same time, like, I don't want to push my luck because that could mean a lot of things. And it was a fun night. There were a lot of wonderful, lovely moments. And just, I guess for me, it's been interesting because I've done the School of Womanly Arts, and one of the tools is swamping. And I went to a swamp where there's dancing and embodying your emotions and giving your body the space to express itself and to tap into it. And I could tell, like, I could kind of like feel the emotions, but I couldn't express them fully. So we were doing grief, and I'm like, I can kind of feel the sadness, but there's no tears coming. I'm just like, I feel you and I'm present with you, and I can't express it. During rage, which came first actually, I was able to get a little more ragey and angry and move the energy and be like, yeah, like this is fun. And then grief was like cool, and then turn on was fun. I like turn on, it's the best. But it was interesting for me because it was at least a space where I was able to open up a little more than I usually do. And it didn't feel like it did much because, like, swamping, the only time swamping has tended to feel like it does something is if I am having a day where something upsets me. Like when I was in London, rudest servers I've ever dealt with, they ignored me for like an hour. So I'm just sitting by myself and I don't tip. I'm like, screw you. If you give me terrible, terrible service where I literally have to flag you down to do anything, you're not getting a tip. I don't care if you think because I'm American. And I heard them comment on it, and it upset me to no end. I was like, they have the audacity to act like I'm going to tip after this nonsense? No. So I remember that night, I was able to go to my room, put on angry music, throw pillows, punch pillows, crawl around, just be angry and in my rage because I was angry. I was like really angry. And yesterday, I had moments where I was angry, and part of me was like, I don't know if it's just because these are environments that I don't feel naturally I belong in. So there was a call to practice tools, and I don't like transformational communities because they get so rooted in using the tools and the language that they stop being human, and it just gets freaking weird. It's just like, stop. I don't care about your swamp or your this or your that. Like, just share. Like, why do we have to always frame everything as a tool? I get it. The tools are powerful for you, but like the main tools that are used in conversation are spring cleaning, where one person gets the space to go through their stuff and kind of like clean out your mind. There is swamping. Actually, that's a dance. You're not really supposed to speak your swamps unless you've moved it through your body and like release charge. So that's not really supposed to be one, but people do it. And I'm like, there's a reason why you're not really supposed to do that unless you moved it. But hey, it's cool. That's life. People freestyle. There's brags, which I love, but I'm naturally a braggart. And someone told me that I was humble bragging in one of my videos. And I'm like, my only disappointment is that you thought I was humble. I'm like, that is my running joke with my mom. I've been bragging since I was a kid. She's like, Mom, I'm so smart. I don't get why people don't listen to me. She's like, you're my most humble child. I'm like, right? I don't know how you got so lucky to get a child as humble as I am. But there's bragging. There's gratitudes, which I love to be thankful for things that happen in life because I feel like I've been truly blessed on a deep level. And so gratitudes always make me happy. That is like, I don't mind those. And desires. I also speak my desires freely. So a lot of people know I would like to be an international, inspirational speaker, coach, author, socialite, artist, just getting paid to be the fabulous Latia that I really am. And it's also that I've been bold in speaking my truth my whole life. So being in a program where other people are learning to do it, it's not bad. It's just that don't correct me if I don't say, thank you, it's true. I know it's true. I'm glad you're smart enough to know that I'm smart. I'm glad you're able to realize my greatness. And so in these spaces, it's like you're pretending that you like yourself and that you're proud of yourself and what you do. I already am. Like, I'm looking for something that's a little more like getting me to what I need, which is probably more on the physical tool size and integration and tapping into that emotional space so that I can tap into whatever emotions are coming up on my own. But also, I guess like one of my weird fears is like, not necessarily like I'll break down there, but like, can I really handle things going into me? Like, I've always had a weird thing about penetration. So it's interesting for me that this, I don't even know if it's a fear, but that this emotion is coming up for me in these encounters. And I'm excited to explore it and to practice and see what I can move and like get going in my life. But it's something that I guess not everyone is dealing with, where like my challenge is how can I take it to the next level and like get wild and crazy to the depths and heights that I can have. Whereas like for other people, it might just be how can I open up to the possibility of being orgasmic and owning my power and learning what parts of my body like to be touched. Is it, you know, my neck? Is it my back? Is it my shoulder? Is it my hand? Is it my boob? Is it legs? Like our bodies have so many just receptors is coming to mind, but we have so many ways to experience touch and pleasure. And it's like we take it for granted and are in such a let's just get to penetration and not take our time and really have anticipation and make it a thorough experience. But that is just kind of like a lot of the things that I tend to think about in relation to sex and emotions. Just how we see ourselves determines how we have our sexual experiences. So like, I'm gorgeous, I love myself, and I enjoy just my life and my pleasure. And so now it's like, oh, I've been having this really fun life where like I have a few different guys willing to go out with me or take care of me or buy me food or pleasure me. And only like just pleasure me, but like, oh my gosh, like there are like moments where I'm in the mix and I'm like, whoa, can I really handle any more of this pleasure? Like, okay, like let's breathe, let's enjoy it, you know, like that is like where I'm at, where it's just like how much pleasure can I experience within an encounter? And it's a lot. It's great. And I want that for others, where you get to have all the pleasure and the joy and the emotion and the connection and the fun and the confidence, just to show up as a confident, empowered person, whether you're a man or woman, because at the end of the day, if both partners are giving and receiving pleasure, it is going to be an amazing experience. So I wish you all the most fun exploration of self and partnership. I hope you have a lovely day. Please comment, whatever, and see you next time.